Wanted to share this fun story. Last night we had a fundraiser at the Alley on Main sponsoring a local charity, and they have local artists come in several times a year. Last night was Richie McDonald, who was the former lead singer of Lone Star. We actually sold the house he once owned down in Brush Creek. It's right here. Beautiful, beautiful house. So you're going to hear in this video him talk about me asking him, because I never actually got to meet him. But this was the house they owned. The most beautiful, awesome home you've ever seen. Look at that front porch. I mean, just to die for. But anyways, I asked him, is it true you wrote the song Front Porch Looking In? And he took that to pretty much kick off the night, told the funny story. And here's what he said.
I said, oh, really? So before Lori and the kids, before we moved to Murfreesboro, we lived out in Brush Creek, Tennessee. We had a farm out there. And we sold it, and then Jay actually had the opportunity to auction it off after we had moved out. He goes, hey, I'm just curious. He goes, there was rumor floating around that you wrote a song about this place. I said, I wrote a lot of songs about that place. And the song that he was referring to is this one right here. Years ago, we were out there, and Molly, our middle girl, she had these little red cowboy boots that she wore on the wrong feet forever, and Lori and I never told her it was wrong. We just thought it was cute. We figured someday she'll figure it out. Well, she just graduated from Western Kentucky about 3 months ago, and I know, Blue Raiders, Red Hilltoppers, I mean, what do you do? But I do have one at MTSU right now, so, we're a house divided. But I feel kind of bad because I'm sitting up there, in the stadium there in Bowling Green, and Molly's still got that funny walk as she's walking across stage to get her diploma. I felt like we should have told her sooner. So Molly walks just fine. She comes in one day and she says, Daddy, she goes, she was so proud of herself. She was little, and she looked down at those little red cowboy boots, and she looks back up at me, and she goes, shoes on right. She goes, you're going to have to change the song. So, it had been on the radio for 6 weeks, been in Walmart, so she just couldn't understand why I couldn't go in and just change the lyric.
The only ground I ever owned was sticking to my shoes. Now I look out my front porch, this panoramic view. I can sit and watch the fields fill up with rays of golden sun. I watch the moon lay on the fences like that's where it was home. My blessings aren't in front of me, it's not about the land. I'll never be the view from my front porch looking in. And there's a carrot top and belly walk with a sippy cup of milk. Little girl I brought with shoes on wrong, she likes to dress herself. And the most beautiful girl holding both of them. Yeah, the view I love the most is my front porch looking in. Oh yeah. Well, I've traveled here and everywhere, following my job. I've seen the paintings from the air, brushed by the hand of God. The mountains and the canyons reach from sea to shining sea. Oh, but I can't wait to get back home to the one He made for me. 'Cause anywhere I'll ever go and everywhere I've been, nothing takes my breath away on my front porch looking in. There's a carrot top and belly walk with a sippy cup of milk. A little girl I brought with shoes all wrong, she likes to dress herself. And the most beautiful girl holding both of them. Yeah, the view I
that song was ever really even written was I was supposed to write with these guys one day, and I woke up that morning and I looked outside and we had 2 horses, and they'd gotten out of the one little strand of hot wire that I ran to keep them in. It just wasn't enough. Anyway, so I tell this guy, Frank Myers, I said, hey Frank, I said, I'm not going to be able to come in and to write today because the horses got out, I got to fix the fence. He goes, hey man, he goes, we'll just come out and help you. So they drive 60 miles out to Rush Creek, Tennessee, and never forget them showing up, Frank Myers, them being another guy called by the name of Don Frimmer. And so we were eating Subway, Lori and I, and Molly and Macy. Rhett was in kindergarten. And they sat on the front porch. And when Don Frimmer shows up in a golf suit, he was going to go play golf after we fixed the fence. So I had rented an air compressor because, Tennessee's nothing but rock underneath the dirt. And so we worked on this fence all day long. I'll never forget Don out there running that air compressor and that hammer. And we got through, and Frank and Don said, hey man, he goes, we want to write this song with you. And he goes, it's about your life. So we wrote The Front Porch Looking In. And the reason we come up with that, they were sitting on the front porch, and I think Frank looked in, he saw Molly and Macy kind of running around, and Frank goes, man, what a beautiful view. And Don Frimmer looks out, he goes, well, it was the other way around, I'm sorry. Frank was standing there on the porch, said, what a beautiful view, because it was kind of up on a hill, and Don Frimmer turns around and looks in, and he goes, yeah, but not like the one looking in. And we wrote it the next day. True story. And then Jay sells our house to a man that owns strip clubs. This song actually, we were living out there in Brush Creek when I wrote this song as well. And it was inspired by a little 4-year-old years ago, a phone conversation that I had with Rhett. And we'd been gone for about 6 weeks and out in Southern California, and right before we hung up the phone,